just be the evolution of the sport. I mean, every now and again, you get these coaches that roll through that you just want to go, gosh, just get with the time, guy. If your coach is teaching your 6-year-old a headlock before anything, there's a problem. Look, we're going to take the 1 or the 16. You decide. Welcome to the show. And we're live with the Roundtable Podcast. We got another special guest coming on tonight, or a couple of young studs coming on tonight. This is going to be the top guys there from the Maize Wrestling program in Maize, Kansas. So I'm going to let you guys give yourselves a little bit of an introduction, and then we'll get rolling. If you guys want to start left to right, right to left, whatever you want to do, give an introduction and we'll roll.
I'm Jaden Ford, and I'm a senior, and I wrestle 165.
My name is Daniel Gomez. I'm a senior, and I wrestle 138.
Aiden Flores, I'm a senior, 190.
Ronan Wunsch, I'm a senior, and I'm wrestling 215.
Good. So, you guys look like you've got a pretty solid team. I mean, you guys got a lot of returners coming in this year. I know you guys are going to have a little bit of dynamic change with new coaching staff and that type of stuff, and we'll get into that in a little bit. But I just kind of wanted to talk about last year's finish for you four specifically. But so, Daniel, you were third at state last year, lost in the semis to Caden Allen. You got a fall and major into third and fourth. Let's talk about your third place match with Spencer Moisier. Was that a pretty eye-opening moment for you, where it was I gotta get things done, or was it just any other day for you?
I was really hoping for the finals, but third place ended up working out. It was definitely a tough match, but I wrestled him early in the season and had a really tough loss. So it just felt really good coming back and looking back at the crowd, the third place.
Yeah, I think a lot of the times those third place finals matches, they end up meaning a little bit more. I know you want the one finish, but being able to take a loss on the front side day one and then come back and wrestle your way through for third, it shows a little bit more character to me than anything, that you're not just going to go, all right, I'm done wrestling, I don't care anymore because I'm not in the finals. You're there for your team, getting team points, and like I say, where you get a fall and then a major, you're looking for bonus points to add to your guys' team score, and a lot of people don't think about things like that, but that's a lot of extra points for you guys, whether you did that or just coasted through. You showed the extra effort for sure. Do you remember the score was what, 3-4 in the third and fourth place match?
Something like that. It was around there. They're pretty close.
Yeah, 3-4. I think that's what that was if I looked it up right, but I don't remember 100% either. But I know watching it, it was a dogfight for sure. You had to scratch and fight for every little inch you could get and go from there. And it was a good match to watch. So I'm excited to see what you guys do this year. I think that'll be another good matchup. I'm hoping you guys see each other again and get going on that soon. So Jaden, you were second last year. Ultimate tiebreaker in the semis. Did you learn anything from that?
Take better, create more shots, and create more angles. There's a lot of opportunities I didn't take. I held back.
Right.
Basically, it.
Kind of got to open up on your feet a little bit more, is what you're saying?
Yeah, I've been working on that this summer.
Good. Yeah, I bet that was probably a nail biter for sure. I mean, you get into a lot of those matches, whether you're wrestling or coaching, and it can go either way, and it's almost who's got the most dog in them, and who's who wants it bad enough at that point. You're tired, you've been there for the last 3 periods or more, and it's just one of those deals where you go, all right, I gotta own this and do whatever it is I can to get this W. And so going into your finals, was that still kind of in your head about, oh man, that was a close one to get me here, or was it just, hey, I got a short memory and move on?
Just a short memory and move on.
Right. Anything specifically that you were doing leading up to the finals to kind of try to prepare yourself? Anything in the finals that you wish you would have done differently?
To not go out there and wrestle with my nerves, throw them out the window.
Right. Yeah, and that big arena up there, in Park City, that definitely doesn't help out. I know when I was in high school and we were there, it was one of them deals where a lot of the times before the finals, we would step back and go upstairs or go into that back locker room and just get away from everybody. Especially once it comes final times and that arena's packed and there's tons of people there, and you got to walk through all these people to get down to where you're going and whatnot. It definitely can take a toll on you for sure. So, Aiden, you're the returning state champ for your team. How does that feel?
It's pretty cool.
Feel like you kind of got a little bit of a weight on your shoulders to lead the team, and maybe even a little bit of a target on your back coming into the season against other kids.
I mean, I guess I would have a target on my back. Feel like I've had one since freshman year when I was knocking off the top dudes. Since then.
Right, and that's how it should be, But it seems like at this point it might be just a little bit different for you, because in all honesty, it seems like you really didn't even have a whole lot of competition at the state tournament last year. I mean, it was either pins or majors, and then a pin in the finals. When you get to
Yeah,
that point, what do? You just go, well, I got to chase competition, but how do you do that when you're pinning your way through the state tournament?
yeah.
So, moving into 6A this year for you guys, right? Does that give you any worry on, there's a good chance that you're probably going to wrestle Braden Hill from Garden City, who's a potential 215-pounder this year. Um, does that bug you at all?
Um, no, he's just another person in my way.
Right? Think he's gonna give you a little bit of a challenge?
Well, I've never really seen him wrestle, but I mean, I take everyone serious no matter if they're bad or they're good. I just want to get off the mat as soon as possible.
Right, right. So, your third place match at State Ronan, that was Sean Carroll in the semis. Was that kind of a heartbreak loss?
Yeah, I lost to him 2 times my sophomore year, and I was hoping I could pull through in the semis and make it to the finals, but I ended up coming short by 1 point.
Right. Anything you would change specifically in that, or, mindset or anything specific there?
Just be more aggressive on my feet. I was a little bit scared to shoot last year,
Right.
and I've been working on that a lot this summer.
Right. Hey, getting stuck underneath people isn't very fun. So, there's kind of a struggle there for sure with a lot of kids. So don't think that it's just you. Getting stuck in a front headlock position kind of sucks most of the time, just for anybody. So so you guys got a new head coach this year, right?
Yeah.
How do you guys feel about that? Do you guys like the change up going into your guys' senior year, or is it one of those deals where you guys were kind of going, hey, I wish that we could have kept the same staff for one more year before we got out of here and then had the change?
Uh, it's definitely different. Definitely gonna miss Coach Shower. I feel like he brought good energy to the team, and it's gonna be different this year. But I'm
Right.
excited for it.
Right. I'm sure Coach Ball's got some different stuff planned for you guys than you normally do. Have you guys even really talked about, practice structure or anything like that? Is it going to be a whole new ball game for you, you think, or is it going to be pretty similar to how it's been in the past?
I think it's going to be pretty similar. I know Coach Shower always structures his practices a bit different, but Coach Ball, he's new, he's young, he's fresh. I'm yet to find one thing that he's not good at, so I don't think he'll have any trouble running a practice.
Right, right. Well, and I'm sure it's nice having Derek there too for you guys. Coach Patterson, he's involved at just about every level there can be, and I've been thoroughly impressed with the things that he's been doing with you guys at the high school and then the kids club and middle school kids and just all the way through and through. So that helps out where you guys kind of got that rock as a consistency for you too. So you guys are a little bit of a big player coming into 6A. There's been lots of talk about, hey, this is a potential state championship team, and you guys looking like you guys are bringing in a lot of team points compared to just about anybody else. Does that put you guys in a different position perspective wise going into the season? Where you guys are not necessarily going to try a little bit harder, but have different goals than you normally would.
I think we have the same goal to get a team title, and then all of us want that personal title.
Right, right. Yeah, I mean, and that definitely, is something you guys can do. There's been tons and tons of talk and just perspective of, hey, this is a game changer, and you guys used to be 6A, and it seems like you guys kind of bounce back and forth quite a bit, but I think moving into 6A is a good play for not only you guys, but for, that group as a whole, just in the competition level and putting you guys in front of everybody you can possibly see, um, where before you guys not necessarily hadn't seen everybody, but didn't get to see where the kids that we probably should have. I mean, same type of deal with like Braden Hill and Garden City. You guys have never seen him, but it's gonna be a battle. I think you guys are gonna have a good time. Kind of just showcasing and saying, hey, we're here and we're here to stay. So you get better or live with it. One of the two. Um, what's your guys' college plans? You think you guys are gonna want to wrestle next year?
Yeah.
Anything specific college wise? Are you guys wanting to go somewhere specific, or anybody looking anywhere to go to that you guys have already got plans to take visits to, or have been, or wherever?
The only visits I've been on is Baker, and then I went to Newman for one.
Right. Daniel, what about you?
I got a lot of visits planned that are coming up, but just really whatever has a good academic program and hopefully pays me enough so it's not as much debt.
Yeah, yeah, that's definitely a big talk. You gotta look into not only what the best option for you is with wrestling, but academically. You're a student first, and whoever's gonna give you the most money, that typically ends up being the one that I would choose as far as that goes. Just on looking at all these kids coming out of college now with this crazy amount of debt and whatnot. It's definitely a smart choice to look into. So Aiden, you're the big football player out of the group, right?
I mean, I guess so.
Guess so.
Yeah.
Well, is that an option for you next year, or is it wrestling all the way through?
Um, I've only had two schools that have told me it's a possibility where I could wrestle and play football. So, um, I'm not sure. I've always been planned on just choosing wrestling, but if football will be opportunity to do alongside as wrestling, then I'll have to probably go with that.
Right. Yeah, I mean it's definitely an opportunity. I know a lot of schools out there. They've got quite a few kids on their teams that are doing both, and it's kind of just one of those understandings. That it's a workload. You're gonna have a lot to do. Both sports plus school. And extra workouts, everything on top of that. But I think I mean, obviously, if there's anybody that can do it, it's you. So I would definitely keep that open for sure. Ronan, what's your thoughts?
My options are still open for college. I've had one visit at Newman, but I would go there, but I would prefer probably another school.
Gotta get away from home. Is sounds like what the consensus is
Yeah,
across the board
I,
from all four of you guys.
I gotta get home. Yeah.
Yeah. No. Hey, I don't blame you. I was the exact same way. Get me as far away from home as I possibly can. Now, where I was from Southwest Kansas, and the nearest fun thing we had to do was 2.5 hours away in Wichita, where you guys are at. That may have changed things for me a little bit, but I mean, I definitely could see that. Get away from mom and dad, start your life, and get out there. Um, but there's definitely some opportunities still, and tons of schools are going to be looking. And especially if you guys are hitting these preseason tournaments hard and doing that. You definitely can get looks. A lot, quite a bit here. In the next probably 4 weeks before your guys' season starts, and then obviously through your season. But you just kind of got to be proactive about it, I think, and don't just sit and wait for them to come to you. Um, so, talking about preseason tournaments, we got the nuclear duels coming up here. I haven't been paying attention extremely much to who's all going and who's not going. I've been kind of trying to keep my eye on it. Have either four of you been invited down there to wrestle in that nuclear duels deal down there at Rose Hill?
Yeah, I'm going.
All four of you, or just one of you?
I was invited, but I would not be able to go. I have football.
Right, right. Daniel, you
I
too?
was, yeah, I was also invited, but I turned it down because I was busy over the time of the duel.
Right, right. Ronan?
Yeah, I had to turn it down. I'm at a wrestling tournament that weekend.
Right, right. Yeah, no, I think it's something good, and I mean, I'm glad that they're exposing that out, and we did Rose Hill a couple of weeks ago, and they had a lot of highly good things to say, about Maze and just the competition level that you guys were putting out, and I think you guys getting down there to duel them throughout the year and things like that, like you've done in the past, is good. You know, um, I think that kind of in that D2 Wichita area, there's pretty much two dynasties. You got Mays and you've got Rose Hill, and I'm honestly kind of surprised that you guys don't butt heads quite a bit more. With just being the two biggest places there is there, and quite honestly, the two best places there is there. So what's your guys' opinions on that program picking up as much as it has in the last couple of years?
Well, they've come far for sure. They've just their potential and their work ethic and just the amount of athletes they're producing has just grown exponentially over the recent time. And we've had duels with them. I think we even lost ours to them last year, just because we had a lot of people out for injury, stuff like that. But I mean, I can't really put it on that. I think if we duel again this year, it'll definitely be closer. It'll be a good one, good competition for both teams.
Right, right. So kind of talking about you know button heads and beefing a little bit. Is there anybody specifically that you guys are looking to not necessarily call out, but something that you guys are pushing for that you want to see with who you're wrestling this year?
Hoxie.
Yeah, definitely Hoxie.
Hoxie.
Hmm.
Yeah, and that one's kind of a tough one, with them being 3-2-1A and clear out, in the western side of the state. There's probably not very many opportunities, tournament wise for you guys to get there and either go out to them or them come out to you. It's kind of a weird deal. I don't know. Is your guys' tournament scheduled? Do you guys have them at anything that you guys normally go to?
No. Last year, I think there was one or two things we were supposed to have them at, but they didn't end up showing up or they dropped out.
And
Right,
I believe this year we invited them to a few, but that's all fallen through as well.
right, right. So they're not saying that they're running, but they've had opportunities to see you guys and just haven't and so hopefully we can get them on here and see what their thought process on that and they've had a good team in the past and they do some decent things up there in Hoxie. It just kind of like say it sucks with them being 3-2-1A number one and then on top of that being clear out on the other side of the state where they can't get to a lot of things or they have to drop out for whatever reason. That makes it tough to go, all right, well, where's the competition at here? We want to see these kids, and there's a lot of the speculations on who would beat who and what team's better. But if they can't come out and see you, then it's a little hard to get that reaction from them. When you can't see them. So is there anything specific that you guys had growing up, as far as your guys' kids club win or anything like that you feel was beneficial into helping kind of stack your guys' team up and give you guys so much depth and just get to the level of wrestling that you were at?
Yeah. Derek and Josh, they built the program up and they just keep feeding it through. And they're the feeders to our high school team, basically.
Right. Yeah, no, I mean, so did all four of you guys wrestle for Mays Kids Club?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So, kind of same technique that you're running now. You were starting when you were 6 years old and pushing into it, and the same coaching style, and you get used to those guys. The way that they coach and the way that they explain things and whatnot. Definitely helps the situations out and whatnot. And like I say, I mean, your guys' kids club program it feeds into that high school like crazy, and I think that's why you guys have so much depth every year and whatnot. So as a whole, with your guys' team, do you guys feel like you're a better individual team or a better dual team?
Individual, probably. It gives each kid more opportunity to spread out and beat the top kids. And even if they take a loss, we're good at battling through the backside at every tournament.
Right, and kind of getting you them extra bonus points like we were talking about with Daniel at state last year. There's been a little bit of talk, about doing a dual state at some point in time, and I think that would be interesting just because of how different it is. I mean, like you say, duels you got one shot and that's it, and with the individual bracket, you've got those backside chances, and so how is your guys' dual atmosphere there in Maze? Is it pretty built up, or do you guys struggle with the attendance at the duels and things like that?
Last year, for the first time, we actually pulled in a big crowd for the Newton duel.
Yeah, it's slowly started to get better since we're getting recognition for being in the top five the last couple of years now. It is giving us recognition. Not only the students that are showing up, but the administrators are like telling the students if you show up, you can get rewarded. So it helps the students showing up now.
And after a state title, I don't think there will be any shortage in attendance for sure.
Right. Yeah, no, I don't disagree, and I think it's definitely just the atmosphere, I mean, like out here in Dodge, we go under the light, and music and smoke machines and all sorts of stuff, and there's been a lot of conversation here recently, about social media having a lot of aspect of it and making it a big show, and you've almost got two sides of the fence. I talked to two different bigger college kids. Last year we had them on the podcast. We had Austin Gomez on, and then we had Vito Araujo on, and they both had different opinions. Austin was very much, yeah, we want to make this as big of a production as we can, and blast it on social media, and you know make the bad mouthing and the crap talk and things like that, be as big so it creates some controversy, and more people are interested. And Vito, he was completely opposite. He said, this is a tradition. We don't want to do that. We're not the UFC. We're not the WWE. We don't want to make this big show. And I think that's just a little bit different in everybody's eyes. But how do you guys feel about the social media aspect of it and making it a show?
I think it's really good for like promoting, putting it out there to like draw people in, and then not only that, to get yourself looked at by colleges.
Anybody else got anything for that one?
I think promoting it is always great. Getting more fans, getting your name out there is always a big plus. But just one thing my dad always grew me up on was the being respectful and being humble are two of the biggest things you can ever do in sport. So I'm not a huge fan of all the trash talking, but I really do believe that you should be able to get your name out there and get colleges to look at you.
Right. Yeah, and I mean, there's like I say, there's a lot of different opinions on it. Some guys are going, hey, whatever we got to do to get it be as big of an exposure as we can, and some guys are going, the same thing as you. We're respectful and humble, and don't need to do those things. And I think there's a side to both of it, that you can get to, and even further than that, you've got the pages, like the Ironclad Wrestling page and a Top Team Wrestling page, and a couple of those, that are doing a really good job pushing that stuff out on social media. Like I say, we just had Rose Hill on the other day, and I had to kind of give Johnny Leck a little bit of crap because he ended up becoming a viral clip. A couple of months ago, getting thrown by some kid at Virginia Beach, I think it was, from Ironclad, and it got posted on social media on their page and blew up into this big viral clip. And so it kind of one of those deals where your guys' generation is a little bit different than anybody else, where your social media presence is big, and it can have big, crazy, changes in honestly recruiting for college, and you've got the same two sides of the fence there, where you've got guys being super humble and respectful, and And you got guys like the Ferraris on there that are just absolute nutcases most of the time. And I would think as a college recruiter, you would go, God, I don't know if I want that kid on my team at all. And so how do you guys take your personal lives with that social media stuff? Is it kind of one of those deals where, hey, I'm gonna be me regardless of what it looks like, or do you guys really got to watch yourselves on what you're doing?
Like you said, you wouldn't take those guys on your team, so you definitely have to watch yourself and censor that stuff out if you're gonna be like that type of guy.
Ronan, you think
Yeah,
anything
what's
different?
No, I really do think you gotta watch yourself. I think colleges only pick the Ferrari kids because they're the top kids in the country every time. They're number one or number two.
Do you
I think
think
that's the
that?
only reason why they have them on their team.
What do you think that? Do you think that they have anything to do with how much clout they bring in with them, or is it just based on wrestling? I think at this point, you guys are old enough now that you guys got to start thinking about the financial side of it too. Where there's a possibility that some of these coaches are bringing kids in, maybe not because of how great of a wrestler they are, but how great a clout or how much clout they're bringing in because of the amount of followers they have or this or that.
Yeah, definitely. That could be part of it to draw in more fans. It'd be good for their school and not only that, their program.
Right, right. Well, if it was my advice for you, I would do exactly what you guys are saying you're doing and stay under the radar on that stuff and not be going nuts because it definitely can ruin some opportunities too. But it's just kind of a crazy, crazy deal out there, and just one of them things where you're going, gosh, who knows what's going on with this? With you got these just two completely far different opinions and different sides of it, and whatnot. So talking about wrestling, it's kind of a grind, and you guys are going almost all year round and whatnot. Does that kind of eat into your guys' personal lives? Something that I was told multiple times, growing up and in high school, especially going into some visits and whatnot. This one specific that I remember was there used to be a guy named Coach Johnson there at Missouri, and he said, you got three things when you go to college. You've got your academic life, you got your athletic life, and you got your personal life, and you can only have two. And wrestling is almost one of the only sports that I feel like takes such a toll on you personally, and just the grind of it all altogether. Does that kind of bug you guys a little bit, going in where that there's lots of things on Fridays and Saturday nights that you're missing most of the time because you're traveling or cutting weight or whatever, that you've missed out on? Or this episode is brought to you by J3 Apparel in Garden City, Kansas. You ever go to the gym and just aren't comfortable? Workout clothes, especially in the wrestling room, are something that you can't just go and buy whatever it is that you feel like. You have to buy something that's built for wrestling. And J3 Apparel, they've got it there. You go into a Nike store, you go into an Adidas store, yeah, they've got some combat sports clothes, but they're super expensive and honestly not very comfortable. Go to J3 Apparel, they've got everything you need. Or is it one of those things where, you guys are good to sacrifice it now?
Well, uh, it definitely takes up a lot of your life, a lot of your time. I don't really believe that you can be at the upper level in the state and have a personal life I mean, as high school kids, we have to focus on school wrestling. We have to have jobs. There's just a lot to focus on. And whenever you're practicing day in and day out and have tournaments on weekends and two-a-days and even three-a-days sometimes, there's just not really a chance for your personal life. And it's not something that a lot of people are willing to give up, which is why I think wrestling, it's um it's one of the harder things you can do. But the rewards you get out of it are just unmatched to any other sport.
Right. Makes wrestlers different, cut from a different cloth for sure. For sure. So, well, we will wrap this up, guys. I appreciate you coming on to another episode of the Roundtable Podcast. Guys, please like, subscribe, check these guys out all year long. Follow them, okay? Track Wrestling is a huge tool to use. Keep an eye on them. Check out what they're doing. I'm sure you guys are going to be impressed. Guys, thank you for coming on.
Thanks
Thank
for having
you.
us.
Thank you.
just be the evolution of the sport. I mean, every now and again, you get these coaches that roll through that you just want to go, gosh, just get with the time, guy. If your coach is teaching your 6-year-old a headlock before anything, there's a problem. Look, we're going to take the 1 or the 16. You decide. Welcome to the show.